Let's go. We have Blackwings going first versus no hand traps. We have Simoon banishing a Blackwing to additionally normal summon with the Black Whirlwind on the field. We have not used up our normal summon yet. Reborning from the banishment pile, another Boreas Storm to be used again to Shokan into a second copy of the Assault Dragon. Burning for 1,400, now burning for 2,100 after every monster effect, plus the ability to negate any card on the field, plus the ability to pop multiple cards on the field, plus with the ability, I believe, with the Sharnga in the graveyard, if you control Blackwing, you could quick effect banish from the graveyard to then pop a face-up card in the field. So much disruption, and the Chinook to negate a monster on the field. Let's get to it. Let's go. I don't think Chinook is actually activatable. I think you have to control a Blackwing monster. If you control Blackwing Synchro or Blackwing Dragon, we don't have a Blackwing Dragon or a Blackwing Synchro, so the Chinook is not usable. But with the Twin Shadow, it will become usable by summoning that Blackwing Dragon from the extra deck. We also have Dissipator in response to monster effects. We're going to pop it, setting up with the Divine Temple, setting up into the back row our Snake Eye Ash, Subversion to push back the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, using its effect to negate. Now, the Assault Dragons are waiting for a monster effect only to then start triggering to burn for 2,100 damage. Sky Striker maneuver, taking out one of the Assault Dragons. We're still burning for 1,400 on every effect. We're then going to draw two with the Triple Tactics talent, not take control, drawing into a Max C and our original Sinful. Send our back row Ash to then come forth and summon from the deck our Oak. Oak's going to be reborning from the graveyard. Wait, the Chinook is activatable. What did I misunderstand about this? Send this card from your hands to the graveyard if you control... if your opponent controlled, you can send this card from your hands to the graveyard, then target one, send one Blackwing. What makes this activatable? What am I misunderstanding about this? You could send this card to negate. It's a quick effect if you control a Dark Synchro. That's where I messed up. Dark Synchro, it is activatable. I think I mixed up the Sharnga. Sharnga has that restriction. Sharnga states that if you control Blackwing Synchro, only then can you pop a card in the field. So I mixed up the two. This one's not activatable. The Chinook is negate. We're going to finger the Chinook to negate the negate mate. Oak will be reborning the Ash onto the field to activate and search for not a Poplar, because Poplar is banned. What are we searching? Negate. I guess we could search for, like a Kurikara or something? Add a level 1 fire for the yes, Kurikara is here. We're going to tribute every monster on the field that has activated. Let's go. Now, the Assault Dragon is a continuous effect. It has not activated. So only the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend is a card that has activated. The Dissipator is not activated. Let's go. Burn, 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 1,400 damage. Ash is going to send itself plus the field spot to summon from the deck as we then chain the Twin Shadow to return back into the deck and extra deck to summon a level 10. We're going to chain Maxi to this. This is to allow our Sharnga in the graveyard to be activatable to pop a card in the field. So we're going to summon, I believe, the level 10 unaffected from all card effects. Yes. Full armor master unaffected from card effects, allowing the Sharnga to be popping. So we have the Dissipator and we have the Sharnga. Ready in response to a monster effect, we could pop it, or the Sharnga could pop whenever. The Black Feather Whirlwind is going to be summoning the Knockbung back onto the field, all under Max C. Is this the correct play to do? We're going to be banishing the Sharnga to activate to pop the Snake Eye Flameburge, and then come forth Kurikara Divine Incarnate, tributing off two bodies in the field at 4,500 attack. We're going to protect the Assault Dragon through the effect of the Black Feather Whirlwind to remove a Feather counter instead. As we then make an SP Little Knight, which will not be banishing on summon. We have Sky Striker mobilizing a Widow Anchor into our hand to take control of a monster and negate it. Activate, take control, mate. Give me your Assault Dragon. As we then Triple Tactics thrust a card into our hand, another Sky Striker engage, only activatable if we clear up the main monster zones, as we then Shokan into Azalea. Azalea on summon will send any card on the field to the graveyard on summon, but we chose to not activate the effect. We're going to then Widow Anchor, come back to our hand from the deck, draw an additional card here. We have Chicken Game, activate Widow Anchor, activate, come to me, your Assault Dragon, as we further link this up into a Promethean Princess. But I think we are fearful of the Dissipator popping the Promethean Princess, are we? Well, it's going to happen anyway. Pop the Promethean, but it still is going to fully summon a fire monster from the grave, which will be summoning our Flameburge back from the graveyard. Activate to put a card in the field into the back row. That will put a counter onto it, a wedge counter. Now, what happens here is You could, once per turn, target a monster with a wedge counter, take control of it. That Flame Burst will be ours. Just like that, activate, yoink it, mate. Flame Burst is going to chain steal the Dissipator from the opponent's back row before it gets taken control of. Now, what you have to understand is, how does the Flame Burst work? Can the Flame Burst activate its effect again? It already activated, but is it tied to that player or to the card? So let's read that. You can only use each effect, you being the player. So Bull can only use each effect, and Earl can now use the effect. So Chicken Game's gonna be activated to get popped, and then we are going to be activating Small World, but we have to be careful of the Dissipator. If you activate Flame Burst to attempt to put the Dissipator into the back row, the Dissipator can return a banished monster. We don't have a banished card, so it looks like we're gonna have to negate instead. Ideally, we probably would have wanted to not negate, but destroy in response to it activating, triggering the effect to reborn 2 level 1 fires in the grave, but we do not have that, but we can, in fact, negate. So we're gonna grab a Vata from the deck, so we don't have an out to the Dissipator at the moment. Yup, activate Dissipator, negate the Flame Burst. Now by negating it, we are not destroying it, it's still on the field, but at 3,500 attack, how do we deal with it? We need the Vata. Put a wedge counter on it, but we already used the soft once per turn of taking control of the Flame Burst. The Vata sending from the deck to the grave to come forth and summon a Blackwing Dragon, triggering the Black Feather Whirlwind to reborn from the graveyard. The Nothung. Nothung is going to burn for the final 800 damage lethal. Just like that, we forced out Nothung during the opponent's turn to burn for 800, with the remaining 800 damage being on our turn, getting around the Dissipator. Just like that. Wow, Unchained doing what they do, which is bricking. Absolutely no play whatsoever for their turn 1. We have Sudri on summon, searching our deck for the Black Feather Whirlwind. Now we have Vata ready to be summoned. Using the deck, we're going to be sending from the deck to come forth and synchro into a Blackwing Dragon, triggering the Black Feather Whirlwind, targeting the Vata in the grave to reborn, so we have that finger ready to negate the targeted monster to reborn. Now, some cards don't target when reborning, like Promethean Princess. Unfortunately, Black Feather Whirlwind is not one of those cards. We have the Zephyros returning back the Black Feather Whirlwind to reborn from the grave to then reuse the Black Feather Whirlwind. Sudri tributing off a monster to summon a token onto the field. We're then going to further Shokan this up into a Borea the Wicked Wind. Borea on summon could trigger the Black Feather Whirlwind. I do think we wait on that as we send from the deck a Sharnga. Further Shokaning this up into a Dissipator. Dissipator is going to be met with the Assault Blackwing Dragon, triggering the Black Feather Whirlwind to reborn from the grave our Zephyros. Dissipator summoning back our Borea Storm that was banished for the Assault Dragon to then synchro with the Zephyros to make a Chaos Angel. We are going second, so on summon, banish that back row card, opening them up for 10,000 damage lethal, and just like that, Earl GB taking an epic Game 1 victory. Oh well, not that epic. Unchained didn't really do much. Sorry. Dead Sideframe Driver, what the heck was that? Let's hop into game number 2. Come forth, Tour Guide on summon, summoning from the deck a Rhino to then Shokan into the Yama. That will trigger both cards. Yama will search our deck as the Rhino sends from the deck to the graveyard. The Nightmare Griffin states that special summon monsters cannot activate unless they are linked. Well, generally, this card's balanced because it links forward. It goes forward. So if you were to summon this in the extra monster zone, all the opponent has to do is summon a special summon monster to where it's pointing to. But because we summoned both our monsters in the main monster zone, the Muckraker pointing leftward allows us to not be pointing at the opponent whatsoever. So any special summon monster, they're screwed. And Earl, how are you going to deal with this? If you do not deal directly with the Griffin, we don't have any link monsters ourselves to link with our... Well, we do have this. Oh my. The Y-Strix. If we could summon this, we will then be linking up with our own monsters so we could special summon behind it. That's going to be our play. Let's go. We're going to Abominable Unchained, attempt to reborn from the graveyard, but we know exactly what they want to reborn, so we're going to finger the Unchained Soul of Rage. It is a non-target reborn, though, so we will summon something else instead. It is essentially a Floodgate, yes. Now, in addition to the Floodgate, we do have Escape, which will be able to pop any card in the field. We have Simoon setting up. This is not a special summon. It's an additional normal summon. We're going to set up a Black Whirlwind from the deck, which with the Escape of the Unchained, we have two choices. We pop the Black Whirlwind and they lose it for the turn, or we pop the Simoon and they don't search for the Black Whirlwind, but they still have their normal summon. What do we pop here? we are going for the Black Whirlwind itself, leaving up the Simoon. Because we know that they're likely going to have an additional normal summon. Now, with the Small World, can we grab the I'm Seti? What can we do with that Small World? I'm very interested to see what is the play. We're going to reveal I'm Seti to then grab a Sudri. With that regular normal summon here on Summon Search in our deck for a Shamal. Shamal will be setting up a Black Feather Whirlwind into the back row. Now remember, special summoned cannot activate. So what are we doing? Whenever we special summon cannot activate, Nothung cannot activate on special summon. We are also under Max C. Shamal triggering to return back the Sudri. The Nothung can allow an additional normal summon. Now, what happened here? This is a continuous effect that the Nightmare Griffin does not stop, so we still get that additional normal summon. Sudri is going to then unfortunately be negated by the Ash. Now, had we had the Black Whirlwind, you could chain link block the Sudri, but then you could Ash the Black Whirlwind itself. So popping that Black Whirlwind was definitely the correct play. Now from that, we're going to be summoning our Vata. Vata, as being special summon, cannot activate its effect because it's not linked up with anything. We have Draco Berserker. Draco Berserker could wipe out this entire field just like that. Reborn from the grave of the Vata. Now the Muckraker unfortunately protecting the Nightmare Griffin from battle destruction. Otherwise, the Draco Berserker, if it destroys a monster by battle, it then gains attack, then attacks again. But the Muckraker was here to protect it by sending itself to the grave. Very well done. Still, we have monsters that are special summon cannot activate their effects. Even under Max C, we special summoned so many times, but now we have an unaffected from all card effects. So what is the play? How do we deal with unaffected from other card effects? You try to battle into it. So we have something bigger than 3,000. That's going to be the main way to deal with it, or a goddess. All we have to do is a Link 2 plus 2 other monsters. We're going to then use the Blackwinged. We're going to use Escape of the Unchained, pop the Aruha, popping our own card, plus a back row on the field. Come forth and summon, just like that. Goddess is here with 5. Otherwise, you could use a Link 2 to make the Underworld Goddess, negating everything else in the field if there's anything left to negate. And just like that, mate, Unchained taking a Game 2 victory with a little bit of help from the Max C. But otherwise, the Nightmare Griffin really put in a lot of work there, preventing special summon monsters from activating. Okay, why is your Psyframe driver stuck in your hand? I don't understand this. Small Worlded up. When do we use our Imperm? When is the best opportunity to whip it out? Simoon is not impermable. This is no good. Can't Imperm this. Black Whirlwind gets searching for the Sudri. And because we have double Imperm, this could be okay to negate. You have Draco Berserker in response to a monster effect, banishing a monster but does not negate. The Zombie Vampire is on, neither player could target this with special summon monsters except summon from the graveyard. Is that what we're doing here? What? What does the Y-Strix even do? Is this good? What do we have in the graveyard that's good? We don't have a Sharnga that's activatable because we don't have a Blackwing. What happened here? T-set, come on. Unchained, what are you doing? That was your chance. Now we're gonna activate the Zombie Vampire, milling 4 cards from both players' decks, reborning our Vata, the Shavara being triggered to set up an escape from the deck. Low on time, really on the first turn? We're then going to be summoning our Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is here on summon, banish a card off the field, taking out the Sarama. If Sarama were to be destroyed by battle, it would have summoned an Unchained from the deck. But just like that, we have lethal damage, cross out Designate, banishing the Gamma from the deck. For 2 games, we kept on drawing our Psyframe driver. Damn. Costanza, I do not blame you for drawing poorly. It's not your fault. It was, I don't know, Konami. Damn you, Konami. Begin. Memento is back. We have Ogre Dance searching our deck for a Punk Seaman. We're going to be activating the Extreme Session, which will allow us to draw up to 2 cards per turn. Draw number 1 after searching for the Foxy Tomb with the Punk Seaman. We're going to be activating the Max C in response to the draw so that they don't draw into an Ash Blossom or Call by the Grave. Come to me. A Psyframe driver. This card loves being in people's hands today. We're going to summon from the deck a Shirakusai to fusion summon with our hand and field to Shokan into the Rising Carp. Now, are we further committing into special summoning under Max C? We're going to trigger the Extreme Session to draw again, but the Rising Carp summons 2 bodies from the deck. What are we doing under Max C? Now, this is a great Ash. Ash Blossom, the Rising Carp. They're going to summon 2, you're only going to draw 1. So I say, instead of go for the draw 1, Ash Blossom, negate. Do we Ash? Do we Ash? This is a good Ash, but we're going to draw off the Maxi, or they're going to summon 2 bodies from the deck. Ash, in fact, that's exactly what we want to do. Very well done. Negate the Rising Carp mate. Now we have Serenir banishing the graveyard to come forth and summon all under Maxi. What the heck are you doing? Making a Shen Shen. Now Shen Shen is really interesting. Only cards in the field that get sent to the graveyard banished. So from the hand or deck, they do not get banished. So how do we deal with the Shen Shen banishing when we need our cards in the graveyard in order to summon the Combined Creation? Combined could use the hand or grave to return 5 different mementos to come forth and summon. So this will be interesting on how we do this. We're going to be discarding the Gaddock on the summon of the Darkblade, pop ourselves, which will be banishing ourselves to summon from the deck in Anguish. Anguish searching our deck for the Tatsu. Tatsu's going to send monsters from the deck to the grave, thus it will be banished itself. But, well, actually, does this have to go to the graveyard? Let's read that. You destroy, and you get to send total less than or equal to the month destroyed, so it doesn't have to go to the graveyard. Very nice. So even if it gets banished, it will still send from the deck to the grave. Just like that, we have more than enough to come forth and summon our Combined Creation. Combined Creation going to the graveyard from the hand. As we said, Shen Shen's only from the field to the grave getting banished. Twin Dragon is here on summon. We could pop the Anguish from the hand, not the field, getting in the grave to come forth and search for a Horned Dragon and a Darkblade. Horned Dragon could special summon itself onto the field. We're going to then return 5 in the grave back and including our hand back in the deck to come forth and summon Combined Creation at 5,000 attack. Now the Anguish and the Twin Dragon, that's a light, that's a dark, that's a 3, that's a 7. That is an unaffected from all monster effects Chaos Angel on summon, banishing the Shen Shen to then attack for game. Or not, or we don't need it. Okay, just like this is game itself. So not even having a synchro, 5k to the face, Baldrake. Ooh, should we have made the Chaos Angel? Or do we just do it in main phase 2? We're going to be blocking the 5,000 attack, popping our on-field Horned Dragon. Horned Dragon will trigger. On its destruction, it will pop at least 1 memento we control plus 2 other face-up cards in the field, taking out the Twin Dragon and the Baldrake. This, in fact, is still lethal damage. Also triggering the Combined Creation to summon a monster from the hand or from the grave. Come forth, Horned Dragon back from the graveyard, ready to attack again. Lethal damage. Memento! We also passed on the effect of the Twin Dragon. When destroyed, it could have reborn a body from the grave, but we didn't need it because we had game just from that. Starting off with our Unicorn from the hand. You can't chain Maxi to its summoning. It is an inherent special summon that does not start a chain link. We now have our Birth. We're going to use the Ogre discard to grab from our deck a Wagon. Wagon's going to be searching our deck for the field spell. We're going to be chaining the Ghost Ogre to not negate but destroy the Wagon on the field. Be gone. Now we still get that search for the Extreme Session, which could special summon a Punk from the hand. Also draw up to 2 cards this turn. Get ready for that. We have Lubellion being discarded to search our deck for a Bestial Magna Hut. Magna Hut banishing a later dark from either player's graveyard as we then chain Maxi within the main phase. We already activated within the main phase, so the Triple Tactics talent is in fact activatable to look at the hand or draw 2. What do we want to do? Magna Hut's going to be searching for a dragon during the end phase as the Lubellion tributes over to come forth and summon, setting up a card from our deck. As the Valor negates, you will not be setting up a Branded Regained. Not today. Negate. Now, do we look at that hand or do we draw 2? We are going to Foxy Tune, discard the Triple Tactics talent. What the heck? We're going to then be searching for a Shirakusai, triggering the Extreme Session to draw a card, as we then banish the graveyard to come forth and summon from the hand, all under Maxi. Shirakusai fusing with the field in hand to make our Rising Carp. Did this happen last duel? We have Ash Blossom to negate the Rising Carp. What the heck's going on? Extreme Session being triggered to draw another card here. Punk Seaman boosting up the Shirakusai, tributing itself to come forth and summon for the deck. Nothing as the Ash Blossom negates. Now, with the King Sarcophagus field spell, we could search for an I'm Seti, but we don't have another card in the hand to then discard to search for the King Sark itself. As we then make a Baron to floor again, all under Maxi. We have Kashtira Birth, reborning from the grave under Maxi, further linking this up into an IP Masquerena. What the heck did we do this turn? We have a Druid Swarm, which will be able to banish a Light or Dark from either player's graveyard, so we have to very carefully ensure that our combined creation is going to be searched and not sent from the deck to the grave, otherwise the Druid Swarm will banish it. Now, the combined creation does not activate when summoning, so before it attempts to summon, that is when we're going to have to Druid Swarm and banish. Now, what do we have here? We have Baron to Floor, negate. We have the IP Masquerena, which will use the Baron to Floor to go into a Little Knight to then banish, which can then banish again. So we have about triple disruption. Creation is Earth. Okay, correction. Thank you. While still, there may be an important Light or Dark in the graveyard. Let's see. What would be important to... I guess the Twin Dragon targets a card in the graveyard to reborn, right? So when this is destroyed, you get to target a level 6 or lower from the graveyard. That will be where you would want to use your Druid Swarm. The Anguish targeting the Mace, that could be a good banish if they don't have access to their fusion. Or if they try to reborn the Goblin, that would also be good. Or if the Gaddock triggers to reborn, you could banish that. So pretty much everything but the combined creation would be good. And the combined will still need 5 different mementos in the hand or grave in order to summon. Let's go. Imperm within the main phase. We're going to use Masquerena to link off of the Baron to Floor. Are you out of your damn mind? Are we chaining the Druid Swarm summon? We're going to Baron to Floor, negate the Maxi. We can't chain Druid Swarm because there's no body on the field. Otherwise, you would chain Druid Swarm on a higher chain link, come forth and summon, then link off with it, but there's no body to make it a quick effect. Thus, the Baron to Floor is going to be negated. So we probably should not have chained Maxi, even though, you know, I guess what was this? Yeah, you know, we're going to lose the Baron to Floor anyway. Little Knight is here on summon. We can banish a card from either field or either grave. We're going to take that opportunity to banish our own Triple Tactics talent. Darkblade on summon, discard a Memento Fusion to pop a back row card in the field. We're going to chain summon our Druid Swarm from our hand, which is not disruption. So what is going on? In response to any of our activations, the SP Little Knight could chain banish. Had we chain banished the Darkblade, it would have not been able to pop itself to then summon an Anguish. We're going to summon the Tatsu from the hand, Tatsu pop itself, sending up to 3 cards in the deck to the grave. That will trigger the Gaddock to reborn from the graveyard. Little Knight will now chain banish the Anguish as we then fuse with the Anguish in our graveyard. The Memento Fusion could only use the graveyard had we had already destroyed one of our Memento monsters this turn, which we have done. And we're going to come forth and summon our Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon on summon can pop a card from our hand to search for 2 bodies from the deck. So let's get forth and resolve in that. Pop in itself to then activate and reborn from the grave. This is when I was thinking the Druid Swarm possibly would have been activating, but we're not even activating that effect of Twin Dragon. We're returning 5 cards in the graveyard back in the deck now. The combined creation has a secret effect. While it is the only monster you control, it can attack everybody on the field at 5,000 attack. 5k over the Little Knight, 5k over the Druid Swarm, not enough for lethal damage. And still scooping it up.